Hi Sunday School kids, welcome to your second week of summer Sunday School. So this week's episode of a few of my favorite things, well, today is extremely hot. It's 38 degrees and it's only 8 o'clock in the morning. How will I get through? So something that I really like and cools me down is anything cold. Ideally, I'd be by a lake, swimming, but if I can't, I like a nice glass of iced tea or lemonade, lots of ice, cold water, or, when I really need it, some iced coffee. So that is a few of my favorite things, episode 2 in the summertime. Have a great day.
I was lost with a broken heart. You picked me up, now I'm set apart. From the ash I am born again, forever safe in the Savior's hands. You were more than words could say. I follow you over all my days. Fix my eyes, follow in your ways. Forever free in an empty grace. 'Cause you are my freedom. We lift you higher, lift you higher. Your love never ending. Oh, oh, oh. You are alive in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love has set us free. Oh, oh, oh. In the midst of the darkest night, let your love be the shining light. Breaking chains that were holding me. You sent your son down to set me free. Everything of this world will fade. I'm pressing on till I see your face. I will live that your will be done. I won't stop till your kingdom come. 'Cause you are my freedom. We lift you higher, lift you higher. Your love never ending. Oh, oh, oh. You are alive in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love has set us free. Oh, oh, oh. You are my freedom. We lift you higher. You are my freedom. We lift you higher, lift you higher. Your love never ending. Oh, oh, oh. You are alive in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love has set us free. You are alive in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love has set us free. Oh, oh, oh.
Hi boys and girls, thanks for joining us for Sunday School today at Evangel Temple. It's Christine again and I'm happy to see you. One of my favorite Bible stories is Jesus calming the storm. I don't know if you guys have heard it or not, but we're going to talk about it today because it's my all-time favorite. So One day, Jesus and his disciples go and travel on a boat. And they're going from one place to the next, and they have to use a boat to get there. So the disciples hop into the boat, and Jesus hops into the boat, and they set sail. And it's very calm, and it's very smooth, and it's so peaceful, in fact, that Jesus, who's pretty tired because he's been working really hard preaching, ends up falling asleep on the boat. Have you guys ever ridden on a boat before? My kids, Eli and Zoe, have ridden on boats, and every time we're on it, they fall asleep because it's so peaceful. So they're just relaxing, and Jesus falls asleep when all of a sudden something bad happens. A big storm comes. Oh no. So, have you guys ever been on a boat when the waves get really bad? Yeah, pretty terrifying. So, the disciples and Jesus are on this boat, and Jesus is sleeping still in the boat, and the wind is picking up, and the waves are tossing them all around. How terrifying do you think that would have been? I can imagine. The disciples were so scared. They were like, we're gonna die. So, they go over to Jesus and they're like, hey, Jesus, wake up. How could you be sleeping? It's a terrible storm. Jesus gets up and said, you guys have such little faith. Trust me. And do you know what he does? He stands up and he tells the wind and the waves to stop. And do you know what the wind and the waves do? They stop. They hear the voice of Jesus, who is the same voice at the beginning of time, who spoke, and they existed all of a sudden. They hear his voice, they know his voice, and they stop. So it went from being a terrible, awful storm to smooth sailing again. The disciples learned a big lesson that day, and it's a lesson that we can learn too. When we are afraid, when a big storm in life is tossing us all around, or when bad things are seeming to happen and we're really scared, all we need to do is trust that Jesus is with us and that he can solve the problem. The wind and the waves knew Jesus' name and they listened. How much do you think that our problems can be solved when we just trust in him? Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm here today to talk about a wonderful snack. Now, this snack is good for all ages. It is the cheese string. Now, cheese strings are very handy because you can take them wherever you go. You may want to keep them refrigerated so that they don't, get all slimy and undignified. But I've chosen to put mine into 3 different ways. It seems to be a tradition with me. Now, I have the full size, which is great. It's handy. Again, you have to use your paws, so make sure you wash them. And you can eat the whole thing. I've also cut it into tiny, tiny strips like this so that they're easy to chew on and not so big as you're walking around. And I've also decided to cut them into little circles, so that we can have a little tiny bite and not too much at a time. Now, let's see if they taste any different. Oh, you got to watch. They're a little squeaky when you eat them. So try not to squeak. Let's see if this one is as squeaky. It's squeaky too. Kind of like those cheese curds. But the best way to eat them is to take your cheese string and make little hair on the top by pulling it down and making it like a funny creature. And it shows you on the package how to make it, and you pull it down, making funny hair at the top, and then you can dance it around. And dance it,